Listen up, warriors. What I'm about to tell you will save your sanity, your bank account, and possibly your entire future. We're living in a challenging dating landscape, and many people are navigating it completely unprepared. You think you're dating? You're not. You're being hunted, manipulated, exploited by individuals who've mastered the art of psychological warfare while you're still playing checkers. They're using manipulative tactics combined with modern entitlement to absolutely destroy good people. Today, I'm revealing the 7 nuclear-level red flags that signal immediate danger. These aren't cute personality quirks. These are poison pills wrapped in pretty packages. And if you ignore even one of these warnings, you'll join the millions of broken people who wish they'd listened to someone like me before it was too late. The dating game has changed, gentlemen. Some people today have been programmed by social media and a culture of entitlement to see men as disposable resources. They're not looking for partners. They're looking for servants, ATMs, and emotional punching bags. But here's what they don't want you to know. You have all the power. You just need to learn how to recognize their games and have the courage to walk away when they show you who they really are. Your future depends on this knowledge. Red flag number 1, the professional victim. This is the individual who's made victimhood their full-time career. Listen carefully. Their entire life is a Netflix drama series where they're simultaneously the innocent heroine and the tragic victim. Every single story they tell follows the same script. Someone wronged them, betrayed them, or failed to appreciate their incredible value. They're never the problem. Ever. Their ex was a narcissist. Their boss is unfair. Their friends are jealous. Their family doesn't understand them. Society is against them. Even the barista at Starbucks apparently has it out for them. According to their narrative, they're surrounded by villains while they're just an innocent angel trying to navigate a cruel world. But here's the brutal truth. If they find fault everywhere they go, check their own actions. An individual who's been wronged by literally everyone in their life isn't unlucky. They're the common denominator in all that chaos. This person has what psychologists call an external locus of control on steroids. They believe life happens to them, not because of their choices. And brother, if you get involved with them, guess what role you'll be playing in season 2 of their victim saga? You'll be the latest villain in their tragic tale. They'll test your empathy from day one. They'll dump their emotional baggage on you like you're their personal therapist. They'll make you feel guilty for having boundaries, for spending time with friends, for not dropping everything to rescue them from their latest crisis. The most dangerous part? They're incredibly good at playing the victim because they genuinely believe their own lies. They've convinced themselves that they're powerless, which makes their manipulation feel authentic. You'll find yourself constantly trying to fix their problems, shield them from consequences, and walk on eggshells to avoid triggering their next emotional meltdown. Here's what happens if you ignore this red flag. You become their emotional janitor, constantly cleaning up the messes they create while they sit back and judge your cleaning technique. Your energy gets completely drained, your goals get sidelined, and eventually, when you can't take any more, you become the next abusive ex in their victim story. When you hear consistent blame without accountability, when every story lacks personal responsibility, when they're always the innocent victim, that's your cue to exit stage left. Don't try to save them. Don't think you'll be different. Run. Red flag number 2, the boundary terrorist. This person's specialty is disrespecting your time, your energy, and your basic human dignity to see exactly how much abuse you'll tolerate. They show up late without apology. Not fashionably late, but disrespectfully late. They cancel plans at the last minute for ridiculous reasons. They change arrangements to suit their convenience while completely ignoring yours. They interrupt you mid-sentence, dismiss your opinions, and treat your interests like they're inferior to theirs. But here's what's really happening. They're conducting a psychological experiment to determine if you're an individual with self-respect or a doormat who'll accept any treatment they dish out. Every boundary violation is a test question. How much disrespect will this person tolerate before they stand up for themselves? Most people fail this test spectacularly because they've been programmed to be nice. They think being accommodating and understanding will win them respect. Dead wrong. Nothing kills attraction faster than a person who doesn't value their own time and boundaries. They'll be glued to their phone during your date while expecting your undivided attention. They'll forget about agreements that benefit you while remembering every detail of what benefits them. They'll show up to dates looking like they just rolled out of bed while expecting you to be perfectly groomed and pick up the tab. The psychology here is simple. They're establishing the relationship hierarchy. If you accept disrespect in the beginning, you're signing a contract that says, "I don't value myself, so feel free to treat me accordingly." From that moment forward, you'll be chasing their approval while they lose all respect for you. This isn't about being rigid or controlling. It's about basic human dignity. A person who respects you will respect your time, your boundaries, and your efforts. A person who doesn't respect these basics is showing you exactly how they'll treat you when the honeymoon phase ends. Here's the brutal reality. If they don't respect your baseline boundaries during the dating phase when they're supposedly trying to impress you, imagine how little they'll respect you when they're comfortable and have nothing left to prove. The first time they disrespect your time or boundaries, address it calmly but firmly. The second time, give them one clear warning. The third time, you're out. No exceptions, no negotiations, no second chances. Your boundaries are not suggestions. They're the fence around your self-respect. Red flag number 3, the emotional terrorist. This is the individual who's turned your emotions into their personal weapons arsenal. They've mastered the dark art of emotional manipulation. Guilt, pity, fear, obligation, these are their tools of choice. Instead of communicating directly or negotiating like an adult, they emotionally terrorize you into compliance. Your feelings become their control panel. They give you the silent treatment when you don't do what they want. They threaten to leave when you try to set boundaries. They make you feel guilty for spending time with friends, pursuing your goals, or having needs that don't revolve around them. They weaponize their tears, their anger, and their withdrawal to steer the relationship exactly where they want it to go. Here's what makes this particularly insidious. They've hijacked your natural instinct to protect and provide. Your biological programming to make your partner happy gets twisted into a leash they use to drag you around by your emotions. They'll accidentally mention how their ex used to take them to expensive restaurants when you suggest a casual date. They'll dramatically sigh and act disappointed when you can't read their mind and fulfill their unspoken expectations. They'll make passive-aggressive comments about how good partners do certain things when you don't automatically conform to their desires. The most toxic part? They've trained you to monitor their emotional state constantly. You're walking on eggshells, trying to predict their moods, desperately attempting to keep them happy to avoid their emotional outbursts. You've become a hostage negotiator in your own relationship. This person sees your empathy as weakness to be exploited. Your desire to make them happy becomes their pathway to total control. They don't want a partner. They want an emotional slave who jumps through hoops to manage their feelings. The long-term damage is devastating. You lose your authentic self, trying to become whoever they need you to be in each moment. Your confidence erodes because you're constantly failing to meet their impossible, ever-changing emotional demands. You become anxious, exhausted, and resentful. Here's the truth. Healthy people communicate their needs directly. They don't use emotional manipulation to get what they want. They don't punish you for having a life outside the relationship. They don't hold their emotions hostage to control your behavior. The moment you recognize guilt or pity being used as weapons, call it out directly. I feel like you're trying to manipulate me into doing what you want instead of just asking me. If they escalate or deny it while continuing the behavior, you have your answer. Emotional terrorists don't deserve access to your heart. Red flag number 4, the parasite. This person has perfected the art of taking everything while giving nothing in return except the privilege of their presence. They expect you to be the director, producer, and financier of the relationship while they play the role of beautiful, entitled, leading lady or leading man. You plan all the dates, initiate all the conversations, pay for everything, provide all the emotional labor, and solve all the problems while they sit back and judge your performance. This isn't old school chivalry. This is modern exploitation disguised as traditional gender roles. They want all the benefits of being treated like royalty with none of the reciprocal energy that historically came with that dynamic. They never ask, "What can I do for you?" They never offer to contribute financially, emotionally, or logistically. They don't cook for you, support your goals, or make your life easier in any meaningful way. Their primary contribution is looking good in photos and providing intermittent validation when you perform adequately. Here's the psychology. They've assessed your value and determined you're a resource to be mined, not a partner to build with. In their mind, you should be grateful for the opportunity to invest in them while they decide whether you're worthy of their continued presence. They'll expect expensive dates while never reciprocating with so much as a home-cooked meal. They'll demand constant attention and entertainment while showing zero interest in your day, your struggles, or your dreams. They'll accept your gifts and efforts like they're their natural due while keeping detailed score of anything they perceive as falling short of their standards. The most infuriating part? They'll frame their selfishness as having high standards. They'll claim they're worth it while providing no evidence of what makes them valuable beyond their appearance. They've confused being high maintenance with being high value. This dynamic creates a toxic cycle. The more you give, the less they appreciate it, which makes you give even more to try to earn their appreciation, which only proves to them that your resources are unlimited and their gratitude unnecessary. A high-value person brings value to your life. They make your days better, your burdens lighter, your goals more achievable. They invest in the relationship as much as you do because they recognize that partnerships require mutual contribution. The parasite sees relationships as extraction opportunities. You're the host. They're the organism feeding off your energy, resources, and efforts while contributing nothing but demands for more. Look for reciprocity from day one. Do they ever plan anything? Do they contribute to dates? Do they show genuine interest in making your life better? If it's a one-way street of giving on your part and taking on theirs, you're dating a parasite. Cut the supply line and watch how quickly they move on to their next host. Red flag number 5, the phantom. This person's life story has more holes than Swiss cheese, and they like it that way. Their past is deliberately vague. Their whereabouts are mysteriously unavailable. Their stories don't add up when you pay attention. They deflect direct questions, change subjects when pressed for details, and maintain an air of mystery that feels less like intrigue and more like deception. Here's what's happening. They're either hiding significant parts of their life that would disqualify them in your eyes, or they're actively lying about who they are to manipulate your perception of them. Either way, you're not dating a real person. You're dating a carefully constructed character. Maybe they're still involved with an ex. Maybe they have significant debt, legal problems, or addiction issues. Maybe they're living a completely different life than the one they present to you. The specific details matter less than the pattern. Intentional concealment. They'll give vague answers about their weekend plans. They'll avoid introducing you to their friends or family with creative excuses. They'll be mysterious about their work, their living situation, or their financial circumstances. When you ask direct questions, they'll deflect with humor, change the subject, or turn it around on you. The most dangerous phantoms are the ones who seem perfect. Too perfect. They've crafted an ideal persona specifically designed to hook you while hiding their authentic selves. You fall in love with a mirage while the real person remains completely unknown. This creates a foundation of anxiety. Your intuition keeps telling you something isn't right, but they're skilled at making you feel like you're being paranoid or controlling for wanting basic transparency. You find yourself in detective mode, trying to piece together clues about who they really are. Here's the brutal truth. If they can't be transparent about their life, they don't trust you, respect you, or see a real future with you. Healthy relationships are built on honesty and vulnerability. If they're treating basic information about themselves like state secrets, they're not relationship material. The phantom keeps you at arm's length while demanding full access to your life, your time, and your resources. They want to know everything about you while revealing nothing meaningful about themselves. That's not intimacy. That's intelligence gathering. Ask direct questions about their life, their past, their goals, their circumstances. If you consistently get vague non-answers, deflections, or contradictory information, you're dating a phantom. Don't try to solve the puzzle. Just recognize that relationships require truth, and they're not providing it. Red flag number 6, the dream killer. This person's specialty is systematically destroying your confidence, ambitions, and potential while making it seem like they're being helpful or realistic. When you share your goals, dreams, or passions, instead of enthusiasm and support, you get skepticism, criticism, and subtle mockery. They question your abilities, point out obstacles, and make you feel foolish for having ambitions beyond your current circumstances. They'll disguise their dream killing as caring. I just don't want you to get disappointed, or I'm just being realistic, or I'm trying to protect you from failure. But what they're really doing is keeping you small, manageable, and focused entirely on their needs rather than your own growth. Here's the psychology. Your success threatens their control over you. If you achieve your goals, you might realize you deserve better than someone who doesn't believe in you. If you grow as a person, you might outgrow them. If you pursue your dreams, you'll have less time and energy to cater to their demands. They need you to stay exactly where you are, successful enough to provide for their desires, but not so successful that you recognize your own value and start demanding better treatment. Your dreams represent freedom from their influence, so they must be destroyed. They'll mock your hobbies as a childish waste of time. They'll question your business ideas as unrealistic fantasies. They'll express doubt about your abilities when you talk about career advancement. They'll find ways to make you feel embarrassed for wanting more from life. The most toxic part. They'll do this while positioning themselves as your voice of reason. They're not being unsupportive. They're being practical. They're not crushing your dreams. They're managing your expectations. They frame their sabotage as love. This creates devastating long-term damage. You stop sharing your authentic self because you anticipate their negative reaction. Your dreams start to feel embarrassing rather than exciting. You begin to doubt your own capabilities and settle cheerleader. They believe in your potential even when you don't believe in yourself. They see your dreams as investments in your shared future rather than threats to their security. They make you feel like you can conquer the world, not like you should be grateful for your current limitations. The dream killer wants you to believe that your current level is your ceiling. They want you dependent on their validation and afraid to take risks that might lead to growth. They're not your partner. They're your warden, keeping you locked in a prison of low expectations. Pay attention to how they respond when you share your ambitions. Do they light up and ask how they can support you? Or do they immediately start listing reasons why it won't work? A person who doesn't celebrate your dreams doesn't deserve access to your future. Red flag number 7, the love bomber. This is the most dangerous red flag because it feels like winning the lottery while you're actually stepping into a trap. They come on impossibly strong, impossibly fast. Within days, they're talking about soulmates and destiny. Within weeks, they are planning your future together. They shower you with excessive compliments, constant communication, and intense declarations of connection that feel amazing but are completely disproportionate to the actual time you've known each other. Here's what's really happening. They're manufacturing artificial intimacy to bypass your natural defenses and accelerate commitment before you can see their true character. It's a psychological blitz designed to overwhelm your rational thinking with emotional intensity. This isn't genuine connection. It's a manipulation tactic used by toxic individuals who've learned that most people are starved for validation and will mistake intensity for intimacy. They text you constantly from morning to night. They want to spend every free moment together. They talk about moving in together after 3 dates. They introduce the idea of exclusivity before you've even had time to evaluate compatibility. They create a feeling of urgency around the relationship that makes you feel like you might miss out on something incredible if you don't commit immediately. The most seductive part? It feels incredible. Finally, someone who recognizes your value immediately. Someone who's as excited about you as you are about them. Someone who wants to dive deep right away instead of playing games. But here's the brutal truth. Real connection takes time to develop. Authentic intimacy grows gradually through shared experiences, challenges overcome together, and consistent behavior over time. What they're offering isn't real. It's a drug designed to get you addicted before you realize what you're actually dealing with. Love bombing serves multiple purposes. It makes you feel special and chosen. It creates trauma bonding through intense emotional highs. It isolates you from friends and family by demanding all your time. And it establishes a precedent of the relationship being the most important thing in your life. Once they've hooked you with this artificial intensity, they'll gradually reveal their true character, the criticism, the control, the manipulation, the drama. But by then, you're psychologically invested in the fantasy version of them and the relationship. You'll excuse their negative behavior as stress or misunderstandings while desperately trying to get back to those early highs. This creates an addiction cycle. They give you incredible highs followed by devastating lows, training your brain to crave their validation while becoming dependent on their emotional supply. You become psychologically dependent on someone who was never real to begin with. If it feels too good, too fast, too intense, slow down. A person worth your time will respect your need for appropriate pacing. If they pressure you, guilt trip you, or try to accelerate intimacy beyond a natural timeline, you're dealing with a manipulator, not a soulmate. Here's the truth they don't want you to know. The modern dating market is designed to exploit people's natural instincts against them. Your desire to provide and protect gets weaponized. Your capacity for loyalty gets manipulated. Your need for connection gets monetized. But here's your advantage. Most people are completely blind to these tactics. They're walking into obvious traps because nobody taught them how to recognize the warning signs. You now have information that puts you in the top 1% of people when it comes to protecting yourself from toxic individuals. These red flags aren't suggestions. They're emergency alarms. When you see them, your response should be immediate and decisive. Don't negotiate. Don't try to fix them. Don't convince yourself that your situation is different. Trust the pattern and protect your future. Remember, you're not trying to find just anyone, you're trying to find the right person. And the right person won't display any of these red flags. They'll respect your boundaries, support your dreams, communicate honestly, contribute equally, and build genuine connection at a healthy pace. Your time, energy, and emotional investment are precious resources. Don't waste them on people who see you as a resource to be exploited rather than a partner to build with. The right person will make your life better, not more complicated. Stop being the nice person who ignores red flags, hoping things will change. Start being the high-value person who walks away from situations that don't serve their highest good. Your future self will thank you for having the strength to choose quality over convenience, standards over loneliness, and self-respect over false hope. The game is rigged, but now you know the rules. Play accordingly.